Hello everyone, welcome to the Jacksonville History Show, produced by the Jacksonville Historical Society and the University of North Florida's Communications Department. I'm Harry Reagan. In this show, we'll take a look at a new exhibit at the Ritz Theater and Museum, Black Wings, American Dreams of Flight. It's based on the book, Black Wings, Courageous Stories of African Americans in Aviation and Space. Our first guest is Adonica Toller, Museum Administrator at the Ritz. Welcome.
Thank you.
This is an exciting exhibit.
It is, and a very exciting exhibit. We definitely touched a nerve because the community have been drawn to this exhibit, and we're very excited to have the opportunity to share it with our community. And
just so we'll try to remind viewers, but the days and hours of the exhibit so that people can plan.
Right. The museum hours are Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it gives them an opportunity to come check out
and the exhibit continues until?
The exhibit is here until January 17th, 2016.
Well, we're going to talk about the exhibit, and viewers will be seeing some photos of what they'll see when they come over to the Ritz.
Right, right.
And there are some parts of this exhibit that are really relevant to Jacksonville. Let's start talking about one of an icon in Jacksonville history.
Alton Yates is an icon.
Well, Alton Yates is an icon, but he's not Bessie Coleman.
Alton Yates is the icon in Jacksonville,
yeah.
And some people are aware of his career later in life, but they are not aware of his impact in the space program. What our astronauts do today, Alton Yates and a group of individuals did the testing. So they opened the door for Neil Anderson and Mae Jemison and Robert McNair. So many people will know him later, and they know what a great person he is and the contributions he's made to our community, but they're not aware of the basically sacrifices he made to make our space program what it has become.
And that was really something when you find out the details of what he went through.
Yes, he really went through something for that, and so there are people who don't know he did that, and so I wanted to bring that out. So he is an icon to our community, and that's what's really great about the exhibit is that so much of Jacksonville history is related to this exhibit. You mentioned Bessie Coleman, who unfortunately died here in Jacksonville doing a fundraiser here for Eartha White and Abraham Lincoln Lewis, one of the founders of the Afro-American Life Insurance Company. But Bessie Coleman was the first African American to have a aviation license, but she didn't acquire it here in the United States due to racism and sexism. She raised money, she learned French, and she went to France and received her license. And
two reasons she had trouble here.
She had two reasons.
She was a woman and she was African American.
Absolutely, two problems.
Wow.
But she was determined to get her license, and she represents even those before her. There's a really great quote in the exhibit from a gentleman from 1879 that says, men will fly like birds in the air. So even the 1800s, when we're thinking of, and slavery is going on, there are people thinking, I want to fly one day. And so Bessie Coleman, it ended up being that symbol. There were individuals who wanted to fly in World War I that could not fly here. They had to go to France. Captain Buford is one of those gentlemen who went to France and flew for the French because he couldn't fly for his country.
And once they passed the test and so forth in France, there was reciprocity, and I guess they could come back to America.
Right. And when Bessie returned, she opened her own flight school and taught other women to fly and other men. And what people don't realize also, she was a stunt woman. So not did she fly, but she did these great stunts hanging out her plane, walking on the wings. So she was an attractive woman. She was friendly, and she also hoped that her being able to fly would help change the race issues too in the United States. So but she was determined to fly, and she went through the steps to make that happen.
So what else? Tell us a little more about the exhibit and what people will see.
Well, people were really going to see some really great artifacts. There's some helmets. They show you the progression of the gear from the leather helmet into the ones that definitely look like space rocket and technology, the advancement in technology. You will find out about the Tuskegee Airmen. Again, this is where
that's a major chapter.
Yes, a major chapter in aviation in the military. And Jacksonville does have there are at least 10 men who were part of the original Tuskegee Airmen. William and Wayman Searcy, brothers. William Searcy ended up creating some devices that helped in the military, creating some patents and inventions that help in battle. And I work with his daughters, talking about him and the other Tuskegee Airmen. So they're another individual, and also Chappie James. People don't realize General Chappie James, the first 4-star general in the Air Force, had connections here to Jacksonville. He had his brother was the principal at Matthew W. Gilbert, and he would come to Jacksonville and support and encourage students at Gilbert and also Stanton High School. And that is where Alton Yates first met him, and Alton Yates decided he wanted to go into the Air Force, and that's how Alton Yates ended up being in the space program.
And a little later we're going to talk to Lieutenant Colonel Alton Yates.
Colonel Yates, yes.
Yeah.
And he's a very humble man, so I'm Alton Yates, but I love to give him that title, yes.
All right. Any other things that people should look for when they come to the Ritz?
They should really, we have a great museum that some people are still not quite aware of. Well,
let's talk, apart from this is a special exhibit.
Right.
But if you came anytime during the year to the Ritz, there's the permanent museum.
There's our permanent collection.
And what would that include?
That would include, we've tried to develop put you in a time and place from the 1870s up until 1967 to give you an idea of what it was like to live here in Jacksonville. We have original, authentic artifacts donated to us by people in the community that help us tell the stories of these great people that are from Jacksonville. James Weldon Johnson and his brother John Rosamond were born and raised here in Jacksonville. We have this great robotic exhibit on them. They wrote "Lift Every Voice and Sing," which today is known as the Black National Hymn. And so we have a great exhibit that celebrates their lives. So
we get to meet them, in effect.
You get to meet them
with
in
animatronics.
Effect with the animatronics. And Sally Corporation, a local company, did a great job. And people from all over the world are raving about this exhibit. We have Bob Hayes track shoes from the 1964 Olympics.
Speaking of Jacksonville icons.
Another Jacksonville icon. And so all these really great artifacts that fit the story, the life of, really talk about Bob Hayes, Billy Daniels, who has a star in the Hollywood Hall of Fame and Hollywood Walk of Fame in Hollywood, California, was actually born across the street from where the Ritz building is. And so we have his personal effects on display as well.
Now, some things in the Ritz Museum are they commemorate, not celebrate, chapters of our history that we're not terribly proud of. There's lunch counter sit-ins.
The lunch counter sit-ins, absolutely. We talk about the Axe Handle Saturday event. We celebrate Rutledge Pearson and his leadership in that movement. And Rutledge Pearson is someone that most people in Jacksonville have no idea who he is, unless they were from that era. But he was a big part of the civil rights movement, not just here in Jacksonville, but nationally. When he died, there were national figures from all over the country that came to his funeral to acknowledge him and his work that he'd done here in Jacksonville.
Well, again, to see the Black Wings exhibit, the hours and the days when it closes.
Okay. The Black Wings American Dream of Flight will be in Jacksonville until January 16th, 2016. And the museum hours are Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Donna Cottola, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for the invitation. I enjoyed it.
And stay with us. We'll have more on the Black Wings exhibit at the Ritz.